Wallach. Welcome, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for the kind introduction. You did such a complete job. I don't have to do anything. I just sit here. You did such a great job of telling the story. And of course, that's the story today, is that the rate of deaths in young people in America are going up very, very steadily, very rapidly going up. And this is simply because of lack of nutrients. In some cases, interference with absorption by consumption of glutens and phagopyrines. We're talking about wheat, brown rind, oats, and buckwheat. Those things have to go. Eat like an Asian, rice and beans and potatoes and that kind of stuff, vegetables. You can add 25 to 50 healthy years of your life just doing that. But it's terrible when you look at the number of people who die in first world countries like the United States, okay? And they're dying from nutritional deficiencies. Plants only need 3 minerals to make maximum yields for a farmer, okay, NPK. And that's what the commercial fertilizers are meant from, or made from, okay, NPK. We need 60 minerals, including NPK, but we also need, okay, 57 other minerals. And so it's very important to understand we have to pay some special attention here to make sure we're getting everything. And this is why people like the Hunzas who live in the Himalayan mountains, their life expectancy is 120. Many live to be 130, 140, 150. Our life expectancy in America, where we have more doctors per capita probably than anybody else, our life expectancy is 75. Well, yeah, our life expectancy is only 75. And that's because we're not getting the nutrients we need to maintain our health and provide the nutrients for our heart to work and our lungs to work and our liver to work and our kidneys to work and our muscles to work and our bones to work and so forth. And this is why the medical profession does so well. Let's just look at one category of diseases that doctors deal with. This is one little category, okay? This is due to myelin, white matter deficiencies in the brain. And each year in America, and just for Alzheimer's disease alone, we spend $345 billion with a B, $345 billion a year just to treat the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Another myelin deficiency, white matter deficiency of the human brain, is MS, multiple sclerosis, and Guillain-Barre Syndrome, which is multiple sclerosis of the spinal cord. We spend $85 billion a year just to treat the symptoms of that one. And then Parkinson's disease, okay, which has the same thing that Alzheimer's disease and MS and Guillain-Barre syndrome have, but also has the tremors, okay? That makes it Parkinson's disease. We spend $52 billion a year just treating the symptoms of Parkinson's disease, not preventing it. The life expectancy of somebody with a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease is 8 to 10 years. No matter what your age is, your expectancy at diagnoses, life expectancy is 8 to 10 years. Let's see here. We also have FTD, frontal temporal dementia, which is kind of a variation on Alzheimer's disease. As the name implies, it's the frontal area of the brain, the temporal area of the brain. And these are parts of the brain that are newly involved with Alzheimer's disease. We spend $7.28 billion a year just treating that one. And then ALS, okay? Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis, okay? This is a loss of the white matter of the brain and spinal cord, but they call it lateral sclerosis because the outside layers, okay, of the spinal cord are just connective tissue. You've lost all these nerves. And it was also called Lou Gehrig's disease. That's $1.02 billion a year just to treat the symptoms of Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. All of these I'm looking for because we have this program we put together, okay, and we have a great, you always have a first patient that everything goes perfect and right because you put all together all the newest information, this, that, and the other in that patient. And this is true for us with Parkinson's disease. And I know we're rapidly working 24/7, putting together a case report here. It's gonna be published, okay, with the, see here, these school.
The Journal of the Institute of Holistic Health, Dr. Wallach, is where we're going to start, and then we're going to broadcast it all over.
Okay, yes, the Holistic Health Institute.
Institute of Holistic Health.
Yeah, and of course, this Parkinson's disease thing, this is going to save so many lives and so many people's life, which I say quality. The quality of life is just going to go up amazing. And historically, it got to people. It didn't matter how rich you were, how poor you were, whether you exercised or not. When you got Parkinson's disease, you were in trouble, okay, because it went one direction. And within, like I said, 8 to 10 years, you were dead. That was the scenario. Well, we're changing all that because we have a wonderful, what should you say, a wonderful patient who just cooperated with us all the way. And it's a she, and we had a nice conversation with her yesterday. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, she is one healthy person. And she was getting treated by a very famous medical clinic. I'm not going to give you their name right now, but it'll be in, of course, in the report when it comes out here in a couple of days. And but basically, they treat her the same way as they do all Parkinson's patients. And every year for 11 years, she was re-diagnosed and confirmed that she still had Parkinson's disease every year for 11 years. Then we gave her our program for 2.5 months, and she went for her 12th year annual physical. Oh, negative. And they redid it. Negative. Okay. And so it's freaking them out. And they just told her, okay, well, just keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you next year. You would think they'd be falling all over themselves, wanting to know what she did. Did she do something different or anything? No, they weren't interested. I found that very interesting. Okay, so at any rate, I'm very excited about this because this is going to be one of the greatest stories this year. Okay, one of the greatest stories. We have many, many thousands of great stories. Okay, that we've helped people with nutrition. But this is one, a very specific health issue, okay, that we know we can prevent and reverse, okay, with a nutritional program. We've proven it. And what makes it so wonderful is this clinic that she was going to is so famous that anything that this clinic says, everybody believes, and rightfully so, because they do a great job. They do a great job. And so we have to pat them on the back and say, thank you for doing a great job and keeping all the records correct. And when there was a negative, okay, not a negative, but a negative report on the disease, and suddenly now, after 11 years, it went away. And they were honest about it. They could have just said, okay, the same, but they were honest about it. Okay, so we got to give them credit for that. So then you look at sudden heart death. This is happening and more in younger kids. I mean, we're talking about kids who are 6 years old, 10 years old, 10, 12 years old, teenagers that are 12 to 20 years old, young adults, 25 years old. They're dying of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, and many of them are heavy exercisers, and they sweat out nutrients, and they don't supplement completely, or if they do supplement completely, they're eating the gluten and phagopyrenes from buckwheat, and they can't absorb the nutrition, and so they're dying of these nutritional deficiencies in the form of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. It's not a genetic thing, okay? It's a very simple disease. It's been reported in every species of animal you can think of, okay? And it has to do, in every case, with nutritional deficiencies of a particular class of nutrients, okay? And we'll go over that once this report is out. We don't want to preempt the report too much, but this is going to make life, which they say, easier for millions of people around the world. This is going to make life easier for patients who already have these health issues, because with a supplement program, we can reverse these health issues, these hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. These are reversible, okay, very quickly, within weeks, okay? It's a terrible, potentially fatal disease, but it's easily prevented. We can wipe it out so you don't hear about it anymore. And once you have it, we can actually wipe it out by getting rid of all the bad foods and maximize absorption, take your 90 essential nutrients and throw in extra of that nutrient. We'll get into that, of course, when this paper comes out. We don't want to take away from the shock. Okay, when this paper comes out, it'll blow everybody's mind. Okay, and I'm very excited about that. And I know Becca's working on that 3720. She has so many things she's got going, but yet this is a priority because we're going to save kids. We're going to save adults. We're going to save seniors. We're going to save humanity with this report. And so I'm so very excited about it. Okay, over to you, Rebecca.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. There's so many things that happen because of no minerals.
That is correct.
So the heart disease, and then so demyelinization, that's more cholesterol than minerals, though. Am I correct?
Cholesterol, a deficiency in cholesterol? Doctors say cholesterol is bad. You shouldn't have it.
I know. Isn't that silly?
It's very silly.
You take an egg that's like perfectly formed. I mean, there's no, well, there can be some human intervention in that egg, but I mean, it's created, it's part of creation. And all you have to do is crack it open and heat it up a little bit, cook it a little bit without too much, folks. You don't want to overcook your eggs. What happens when you overcook your eggs, Dr. Wallach?
Well, if you overcook your eggs, it actually causes problems with your heart, your nerves, your brain, your white matter of your brain, your myelin. And when people get these demyelinating diseases, okay, and including Alzheimer's disease is one of them, okay, it's because they're cooking their eggs too much or not eating eggs at all.
And so overcooking, it actually changes the cholesterol within the egg.
Yeah, and
So
of course,
there's less
not
of it.
available to do its job. Right now, in a normal, perfectly normal human brain, depending on the zone you're talking about, you're looking at 25% to 50% of that location is cholesterol in your brain. 25 to 50%. And so if you're killing all your sources of cholesterol, okay, by overcooking them or not eating them, okay, because doctors say, oh, no, cholesterol, you get plaque in your arteries. That's not true. It's fried cholesterol that gives you the plaque in the arteries. It's fried fats, it's fried butter, anything superheated, okay? Fried chicken, fried fish, that will cause you big trouble, okay? Including all these things going on with your arteries and so on. But if you just cook, which they say, softly, okay? And so this is where you just want to, in fact, I like to poach eggs, soft, scrambled in butter. And I've been doing this for 75 years. And I didn't know a lot because I was only 9 years old at the time, but I knew that people who lived in certain countries did better than we. And I was trying to follow all the stuff they were doing, and it worked. Okay. And I was only 9 years old, but I knew there was something going on. I knew that when we gave animals certain nutrients, they did better. Okay, we took away those nutrients, they did bad. Okay, and so this is a 9-year-old figuring all this out. And of course, the study we did with that $21 million grant from NIH at the Washington University in St. Louis. Okay, it's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. Okay, we're talking about the diseases of exotic animals. The diseases of exotic animals. Of course, that was the publishers. That's the title they gave it. Okay, and that probably wouldn't have been my choice, but it worked. The diseases of exotic animals, and in that book, it shows all the diseases that are preventable, that there are no genetically transmitted diseases, and it freaked everybody out. And it sells for $25,000 to $35,000. You can still get them beat up. You may have to pay $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 for a beat up copy. Okay, but now we have, okay, a new published version of the disease of exotic animals called epigenetics. It's a whole new science of epigenetics. That's me in 1976 with a monkey from Yerkes Primate Center, the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis, something one of the most terrible birth defects in humans. And we're able to reverse it with a simple nutritional formula, and it freaked everybody out. So that's why we have the book Epigenetics, okay? And it sells for $25, not 25,000, but just $25. And so it's available to everybody with, no matter what your budget is, to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your family's life. It's worth $25.
Oh, absolutely, Dr. Wallach. And you can get Dr. Wallach's books at drjwallach.com. That is drjwallach.com. Or for those of you outside of the United States, Amazon.com is a great place to get Dr. Wallach's books, where they are able to more affordably ship them to you. So we have lots of questions, Dr. Wallach. And one of the questions that we have is, I was mentioning that if the minerals are not in the soil, then it's not in the food. Well, pertaining to our products and getting the minerals in, I think is where they're coming from. The question is, if the soil is depleted of essential minerals, then how are supplements enriched with essential minerals or vitamins? And does this require a chemical additive? That is a great question, Dr. Wallach.
Great question. Okay, now this is very simple. You go back to the old Bible, the Old Testament. We're talking over 3,000 years ago. Okay. And they knew then, now they didn't know all the science, but there was an observation, there were places where people lived longer. The land flowing with milk and honey. Okay, now the milk that they're talking about was not cow's milk, goat's milk, camel milk, llama milk. It was glacial milk. The glaciers up on top of the mountains grinding up the rocks, and the rock dust was white. So when the rock dust got into the streams coming down the mountains, it looked like milk to the people in the valleys. It looked like milk coming down the mountains. So that's why they're calling the people who live the longest, where the healthiest, lived in the land flowing with milk and honey, because they looked at that as milk. Okay, so that's why we have that story. And when you look at glacial milk, it's not the same. From mountain to mountain to mountain is different, because every mountain is made out of different rocks. And so when you look at the book Rare Earths Been Cures in chapter 10, which is entitled Glacial Milk, it has several, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 different analyses of glacial milk. It shows you they're quite different. And we looked around the world for 6 months before we found sources. We found a couple of sources in the United States. We found a couple of sources in Asia, okay, where we have a minimum of 75 to 85 minerals in our products. 75 to 85 minerals in our products. When you look at most vitamin mineral supplements, they've got maybe 3 minerals, 8 minerals, 12 minerals. That's about it. We have 75 to 78 on the average, never less than 75. So are 75 minerals being consumed healthier than 3 minerals being consumed? Of course, that's a no-brainer. Okay, and that's why those people live so long. And when you look at the Hunzas, which come from the Himalayan mountains, which has the a great source of the land flowing with milk and honey, their life expectancy is 120. They don't have one medical doctor. Now, when you look at the United States, we are the medical doctor king and queen of the world. We have more medical doctors per person than anybody else in the world, and yet our life expectancy is only 75. In Hunza, they don't have any medical doctors whatsoever. Their life expectancy is 120, and many live to be 130, 140, 150, because they're getting these minerals from the mountains in the form of glacial milk, which they drink as water. Okay, they make their wine out of it as well. Okay, they also use it for irrigating their crops in their gardens. So they're getting these minerals, and now they don't know all the science. They don't know the science. They just know that people who are drinking that water and using that water for irrigation live longer. Okay, that's what they know. They don't know all the science behind it. And so that's why this book, Rare Earths Forbidden Cures, is so important. That's why the book Epigenetics is so important. And what can I say? I just get breathless when I think about how much we know and how much we're making available to our families, our associates, our customers, and so on. This is something you're going to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. It's very economical. If you do the longevity program as an associate, and so you're helping other people with their thing and you're training them, and you become one of our associates, you have tax breaks, and you can put in your let's see, what do you call it? Your business thing.
Your expenses?
Yeah, the business, okay.
Model, the business model, is that what you're thinking of?
No, I'm thinking the business table, your business records, okay?
Okay.
You can say, we're going to make these minerals available to our people, okay, who are members of this business association, and it's a tax deduction. So when you're getting these minerals and you put it in your tax code, okay, your little thing, you're
It's
saying
tax write-offs.
your tax, it's a tax write-off, okay, that you will be able to save an enormous amount of money and add 25 to 50 healthier. I mean, that's a win-win-win situation. And people say, well, my doctor said I can get everything I need just by eating well. Well, that was true when people were getting their water from glacial milk. It was true before electricity came along. Huh? Electricity has killed more people than all the wars we've been in since the beginning of time. And it's been indirect killing, okay? Because prior to electricity, what do we use for fuel, Becca?
Well, we were using wood and coal.
Yeah, wood and coal. And what do we
That's
do
how
with
we,
wood ashes and coal ashes every morning? Do we just throw them in the garbage can?
no, probably sprinkle them out somewhere in the yard, whether it was in the garden, flower beds, somewhere.
Yeah, you put them in the garden, and we put them in small fields. You have small gardens, which are maybe a half an acre in your backyard, and they put the wood ash and coal ashes there. And they actually they would put the wood ashes and coal ashes into our stew, into our soup, on our salads, because they're poorer people. They couldn't afford big, expensive things. And so they're just putting the wood ashes and coal ashes onto our food as a spice, okay, as well. And this is why the slaves, in the old slave days in America, lived to be 85, 90, 95, 100, 110, 120. And the plantation owners would die in their 50s and 60s. Now, why was that? Well, that's because the slaves were using wood and coal ashes, not only as a condiment on their foods, but also in their gardens. Okay, so the crops they were growing, their onions and tomatoes and corn and stuff like that were sucking up those minerals. They ate the plants that had sucked up all the minerals. They're getting all those minerals. Whereas the owners of the plantations, they were trying to eat like Europeans, and they were just eating steak. That was it. They would just eat steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's why they died in their 50s and 60s.
I like steak, Dr. Wallach.
Well, that's
I
fine.
guess
I eat steak. I
it's
love
a
steak.
really good thing that I take my supplements, huh?
Yeah, but see, you don't just eat steak. I know you eat vegetables, you eat fruit, you eat other things like poultry, um, you eat fish, all kinds of stuff. You don't just eat steak. But that's what the plantation owners were doing. They were just steak was the sort of thing that everybody said, okay, you're rich if you can eat steak for every meal. So they eat steak 2-3 times a day, and that's why they died in their 50s and 60s. And the slaves, they lived to be 110, 120.
But it's because the steak was either overcooked or it didn't include the minerals, right?
Okay, you have to appreciate meat only has a certain amount of minerals in it. Meat only has 3 or 4 minerals in it.
Okay.
Okay, an onion can have 24 minerals in it compared
Depending on the ground that it's grown in.
that's correct. But a steak only has 3 or 4 minerals. Most of the minerals in an animal occurs and stored in the liver. And again, the livers were given to the plantation slaves. They would eat the livers. Even when they would clean fish, they would give the fish fillets to the plantation owner. They would eat the livers from the fish. And that's where most of the minerals are stored in animals, is in the livers. And so that's why they live so long, because they were getting the minerals. Whereas the plantation owners were looking at what I'm saying, they wanted to have the
More of the cream of the crop, but they were forgetting the crop, Dr. Wallach.
yeah, well, see, what they wanted to, they wanted to have the acknowledgement that they're in the same area as the big plantation owners in Europe and that kind of stuff. Okay. So that's why they just wanted steak. They wanted the creme. They wanted the steak, the steak, the steak, the steak. Whereas the poor people are eating the livers and you know, the drumstick.
Well, I don't know that it has anything to do with as far as demographics or income or anything, but the fact of we live in a time now, Dr. Wallach, where you either don't want to waste a thing or you live in a very wasteful type environment. Because I know growing up, we didn't want to waste a thing. if we grew it, whether it was animal or vegetable, we wanted to make sure we used every single part of that. We didn't want anything to go to waste. And you were mentioning how, you know, you were a farm kid. And I have a confession, Dr. Wallach. I'm a farm kid too, which is not part of the confession. But I was paying more attention to the ingredients and the minerals and the protein, fat, carbohydrate ratios in my animals' feed than I was for myself. And I think that's what got me in trouble, because I was more concerned about taking care of them and had completely forgotten about myself.
You know, you just thought, like doctors said, well, just eat well, you know, you're farm fresh food and you're getting everything you need. Well, that was true when, not always, but it was almost always true when people were using wood and coal as fuel and putting the wood ashes and coal ashes into the gardens, into the food. But once you went to electricity, suddenly now that concept wasn't correct anymore, because the source of minerals we had used for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years went away almost overnight.
And then living in Phoenix, Dr. Wallach, we didn't have a lot of wood burning. So we had no ashes. That's right. It was hot.
And you were sweating.
That's another thing. Yes, we were sweating. So whatever minerals were going in were being sweated out. I remember seeing my dad, my brother, they would be out working because we had a peach orchard, and they'd be out working and their t-shirts would always have these lines. You know, the dark t-shirts have these white lines. And now that I know that those were the minerals that were sweating out of their bodies.
That's correct.
So think about it, folks. If you got something coming out and it's essential to thrive, you got to be putting more in than what you're having sweat out. And that's what Dr. Wallach's message is all about, is intentionally giving the body what it needs so that it can thrive. Because being proactive is so much easier and cheaper than being reactive. And Dr. Wallach, for those that are on the radio, because we still are being broadcasted on radio programs, and we want to say hello to KSCO and KOMY listeners. Thank you so much for joining us, continuing to join us as we bring this program to you daily with Doc, Monday through Friday, from 12 to 12:50 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know if that's when they're airing it, but we are here live in the Zoom, and we invite you to join us as well at dailywithdoczoom.com. And Dr. Wallach, we have some hands up, so let's go ahead and get to some questions.
Okay.
And first, I would like to invite Donald to the screen with us. Hello, Donald. Welcome back. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you would, please.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. How are you doing?
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
I'm calling you back regarding the dog Vegas, the original 19-pound pomeranian-Spitz mixed dog. In March of this year, we started him on a plethora of vitamins, Arthrodex, I-26, selenium, Z-radical, and then you suggested we put minerals on his spine, on his back. Well, the minerals on his spine and his back has removed a cyst that was on his head. That persists, but he has a huge wavering of appetite. So you suggest we, turn into canned dog food. And the original canned dog food we didn't like. We found a medicated one, and right away he started eating it, and that lasted for 2 months. And in the last four weeks, the customer likes to feed him peas, frozen peas, carrots, broccoli, a mixture to try to find what he will eat. And he turns his nose at most everything right now. And so he's not eating. He's down to about 15 pounds, but holding that pretty steady.
Okay, well, you have to appreciate that dogs are carnivores. They eat meat. They're not big on peas and carrots and onions and stuff like that. So you can't expect them to do that. If it's kind of ground up fine and it's mixed in with the canned dog food, they'll eat it because it's in there. Okay. But they're not going to, if you throw some peas into, some hamburger, they'll kind of push the peas off to the side and eat the hamburger. Okay. That's the nature of a carnivore. Okay. And so, and also, when they're getting more minerals, they're going to eat less. They're going to eat less and they're getting more minerals, because when people and animals have a behavior called pica, where they just eat and eat and eat and eat and they gain weight, is because they're minerally deficient. And that behavior is called pica, P-I-C-A. Okay. And so that's not uncommon when you have a pet that you're giving lots of minerals to, that they're going to eat less of the commercial cat food, dog food, bird food, whatever it might be, because they're getting all the minerals. And so they don't have a mineral deficiency, so they're not craving, so they don't have a pica situation. Okay, so that's not, no, it's not unusual to see a reduced food consumption when you're giving them minerals. Okay.
Right. So the client's wondering, is the minerals actually keeping her dog alive because the dog had a liver cancer diagnosis?
Had liver cancer diagnosis?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. And of course, it may have been a correct diagnosis, because there's times when you can actually overwhelm cancer and make it go away and survive it. But it's one of those things where it's not unusual to add, again, say, when you look at 1900, the turn of the 20th century, when household pets, dogs, their average lifespan in a house was only 3 to 4 years. Okay, well, when they came out with canned dog food, okay, in 1900, suddenly now the life expectancy jumped to 12 to 15 years, because they're getting all the vitamins and minerals added to the ground up meat and stuff like that was in the canned dog food. So they're getting a more complete thing compared with table scraps. Okay, or if you're really being nice for the dog, you're just giving the dog steak, which is worse, because it's just high phosphorus diet and none of the real vitamins and minerals.
So my suggestion now is to that we should really focus on just putting out the canned dog food and leaving it out, and not interfering him with any other choices.
Yeah, give it a whole, highly supplemented dog food, and then don't forget our Arthrodex. Okay, it's a 1 scoop. I think it's a 1 scoop for 12 or 15 pounds, whatever it is, and that's really sort of a gem for medium-sized and small-sized pets of all kinds, whether it's a parrot or a dog or a cat, whatever it might be, iguana. Okay. And so we've been doing this a long time, and so we see this pattern that has developed. So we know that the animals are going to eat less when they're getting the Arthrodex, because they're getting all these nutrients, and so they're not hungry. Hunger, pica, P-I-C-A, is a behavior that drives you to eat more, because your body is looking for those nutrients. Okay. And if you live in a place where there's no copper in the soil, you're going to have certain problems. Okay. You can be anemic. If you have plenty of iron in your diet and no copper, you're still going to get anemia, because your red blood cells in your bone marrow needs more than just iron. So this is why we came up with the books. This is why we came up with the CDs, the DVDs. This is why we came up with all these different. Why do you have 600 products, Wallach? Well, because there's several thousand different issues out there. Okay. And just to have one product that would take care of all those, the pill would be as big as a basketball. And you'd do a lot of licking on that, so you get rid of that in one day. And so we learned that we have to have these in various combinations. Okay, so we came up with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, the Healthy Start Pack, which has the 90 essential nutrients in it. And then we have the secret sauces, which have these other nutrients in there that prevent and reverse certain pathologies. Now, if that person or that pet has that pathology, you give them the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, the Healthy Start Pack, whatever it is, and then you give them that secret sauce is necessary to deal with that issue. And so that's how we designed our system. Okay, so I hope that answers all the questions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Donald. Thank you very much. And I know my dogs love, love, love the Arthrodex, Dr. Wallach.
Oh yeah, most dogs love it.
Yeah, so we choose a dog food that has very few ingredients, and then we just load it up with the Arthrodex and make sure that they're getting good proteins, good fats, good carbohydrates, and lots of Arthrodex. And they don't. So think about it. There are some dogs that are and people that just want to eat all the time. And some of either you get in the way of their food, they get aggressive. Well, I raised Rottweilers, Dr. Wallach. I don't have a single aggressive Rottweiler in my home, nor have I had one. And it's because they're getting those nutrients. They don't have to fight for their food. And they even share the same food bowl. So imagine that, folks, for those that, think Rottweiler. Yeah. So we got 4 big Rottweilers. They all share the same food bowl. And as they need something, they go take a couple bites. They love to lick the bowl. We just keep it full and nobody has issues. So it really was a game changer when we found the Arthrodex and started adding that into their food. It really was. So thank you for bringing that into the longevity fold, Dr. Wallach, and the products that are offered. Let's next go to Phyllis, who has a question. Phyllis, go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right. Well, hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
It's always great to talk with you.
Good to talk with you. What's up?
Well, I do want to say our cats love the Arthrodex, and they're very peaceful and beautiful, intelligent creatures. I give the nutrients all credit. I have a client who has a question about distilled water, and she wants to know what you think about drinking distilled water.
Okay. Distilled water is a hungry water. It doesn't like to be distilled. So it's going to pull minerals from you, and you're going to lose a lot of minerals in your urine and sweat if you're drinking distilled water. That's your only source of water. If you're going to use distilled water, I would add a couple of ounces per quart of our plant minerals. It has 75 minerals in it. That's going to take it, calm it down, so it's not hungry water. It's not going to suck all the minerals out of you. Okay, but you do need water. Okay, and of course, it's one of those things where when you sweat, when you exercise, or you're sweating, it's hot. I'm not exercising, but it's almost 100 degrees here in California right now. So I'm sweating just sitting here in a short sleeve shirt and shorts, but I'm sweating because of the temperature and the humidity. And so I'm going to up my minerals today. I'm going to add more minerals. So it's not kind of just do the same thing all the time, but regardless of how much exercise you did, you're raking the lawn, unloading the truck with a shovel, kind of stuff, you're sweating. You need the rebound, okay, with 100 nutrients in it, 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids. And so we go through a lot of rebound in this household, okay? We go through a lot of rebound. At night, we'll pop 2 of the cans, pop them open, put them in the refrigerator. So in the morning, when we take them out of the refrigerator, all the carbonation is gone. I'll have one with breakfast. The other one, half of one, the second one until lunchtime, the second half of the second one, do the rest of the afternoon. Okay, so you're getting all those minerals, but there's no carbonation in it. But when I leave the house, I'll put 3 or 4 of these sticks with 100 nutrients in it in my pocket. Okay, and we also have another way to do that. Okay, it's called, what's it, the mineral sticks. Okay, so we have 2 ways to get the mineral sticks and the rebound. Depending on what's going on, if we're going to go to a, like a big restaurant, I'll take the mineral sticks with me. It's, not as abusive or as offensive to the rest of the eaters that have this stick, doing something like that. I just tear the top off and it's done. Okay, so we have 2 ways to get the minerals when you're eating out. Okay, I'm having friends over, you give them the options how they want the minerals. So you don't have to have this. We're not going to break your leg if you don't take it, but we advise you do take this because it's going to, potentially add many health years to your life. And who knows, if you have certain health issues, you can reverse those health issues because there's no genetic health issues. Most of them are just simple nutritional deficiencies. And let's see if we can't help you. And so it's always good to, when people come visit you, introduce them to the minerals through the rebound or the mineral sticks.
I totally agree. And when I'm outside working hard and I come inside and drink the rebound, I also spray because it's very sunny and hot out here. I'm sweating like crazy, sometimes itching in my skin. I spray the plant minerals all over my skin. I don't burn. I don't get a sunburn from it. It calms the itching. It's just fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay. And of course, we've saved many lives by taking people who are unconscious just by rubbing the plant minerals on them. And that brings them back to life because they absorb the minerals through the skin. It's almost like intravenous. And these are people who were told, by the doctors, well, this is the end. And we rubbed minerals on them, and it wasn't the end.
I love that, Dr. Wallach. And I'm like Phyllis. I put it on a spray bottle and I just spray my skin. And it's so refreshing. It's any time of the day. I mean, even first thing in the morning when I get up, I spray my hair, my face, my chest area with plant-derived minerals. So maybe that's why it's all curly and whatever. But I love the fact that we have those plain plant-derived minerals. And we also have the cherry mints, which have a nice cherry flavor. We have the strawberry kiwi mints, which is strawberry kiwi. That's actually my favorite. And then the mineral sticks. I love the mineral sticks, Dr. Wallach, because I also get my dose of collagen, which helps with my joints, my tendons, my skin, all of those things that require collagen as a raw ingredient to thrive. So great option. Let's go to Par, who has her hand up. Hello, Par, welcome. Let me, hold on. Something didn't quite go right. So just a moment and there. Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Hi, doctor.
Hello.
Good to see you again. Doctor, I just got all the supplement. Last 2 weeks, I just spoke with you on the Zoom and whatever you advised me, and I got it 9 of them, and I started immediately to use. And I love it, especially the enzyme. And I had an acid reflux really bad. I can say 50% it's gone. I can say
just a few days. Yeah.
I'm so happy, doctor, for that. And also I'm continuing all of them, and hopefully I'm gonna get a better result. I have really good feeling about all of them. And this time, doctor, the reason I just want to talk to you regarding my migraine, doctor, it is really hurting me, and last 5 days, and I had it in my head, doctor, for at least 5 or 4 hours a day, and I couldn't even walk, and I keep vomiting nonstop. And what can I do? And also, doctor, I'm just taking a vitamin B, a B12, and vitamin 3, and also today I got vitamin 2 and B2, and I added, to take 3 of it.
Okay, how much do you weigh?
145.
Okay. All right. Well, in addition to everything you're doing, and I'm assuming you've got the Healthy Start Pack or the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, one of those, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Then to deal with stuff going on with the headache, migraines, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we want you to take the, I would go with the, what would you start with, Rebecca?
Well, Dr. Wallach, we want to make sure she's definitely getting Synaptive and MSM.
I got that one, Rebecca. I got MSM. Okay. It is on my list.
Wonderful. But Synaptive helps like that. And for my migraines, I was taking extra plant-derived minerals, the tangy tangerine, the OsteoFX. So that's came in your brain and heart pack. But make sure that you do not skimp on those EFAs, those essential fatty acids. in your brain and heart pack, you have 2 different varieties, and both of them are very important. So with the EFA Plus, it's a minimum 1-3 times a day. With the Ultimate EFA, 2-3 times a day,
I got that
or
one too.
3 twice a day. So
Okay.
just keep going. Keep going on that. And
Yeah, throw that synaptive in there.
the synaptive.
Okay, I will do
Okay.
that. I ordered that one. And doctor, the second question I do have regarding the psoriasis for my young daughter, and it is around the ears, both of them, and the skin is very flaky, doctor. And do you recommend it any cream, anything she can apply to just keep the, the skin moisturized?
Okay, I missed that. What's the matter with her ears?
Or psoriasis, doctor.
Oh,
Psoriasis all
psoriasis.
over the ears. Yeah.
Okay. Well, psoriasis, of course, is a skin issue. So what she needs, of course, is the she needs the collagen. Okay, she needs the collagen peptides. She needs the hair, skin, and nails. I go with the hair, skin, and nails. Also, the CM cream topically will stop the itching. Okay, that CM cream behind her ears, around her ears, wherever that itching is. But the and this kid is what, 8 years old, you say?
No, she's 20, doctor.
Oh, 20. Okay, so she can be treated like an adult. Okay. Yeah, well, the synaptive. All right, I throw the synaptive in there. And the excuse me, the collagen peptides. The collagen peptides is going to help the white matter of the brain grow properly. Okay.
Okay, doctor. Okay. And also, doctor, last time I just asked you a question regarding a small dog chihuahua I do have, and she has all over the plaque and also gum disease. What is the home remedy I really
Arthrodex added to the dog food. No table scraps. A good canned dog food with all the vitamins and minerals in it, and just follow the directions on the label for the amount to feed that dog. And then the Arthrodex, it's 1 scoop for 20 pounds of body weight. So if the dog weighs 3 pounds, I would just give it a half a scoop to start out with. And once things get better, you can kind of reduce it down to the appropriate amount. But I'd start out with a half a scoop. Okay.
Okay, got it. Doctor, is that it's gonna help for the plaque of the teeth?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because the Arthrodex has enzymes in it. Those enzymes help to break through things like the plaque on not just the teeth, but everything within the digestive system also, and helps to break down the food so that the nutrients are available. So great question. Thank you. And Dr. Wallach, it is time for you to be going on to the other airwaves with radio. Thank you again so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. And folks, thank you for joining us. If I could have my co-hosts on the screen with me, I just want to say thank you so much, Marilyn, for all that you do and putting in the recommendations that Dr. Wallach is offering and additional information into our chat. So folks, that's one of the biggest benefits of being here with us on our live Daily with Doc from dailywithdoczoom.com is Marilyn and all of her fine typing skills. Thank you, Marilyn. And we have Phyllis, who is helping let people into the room today. She's out on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and commenting and sharing information there and also in the chat and asking questions. So as we have people that are posting questions out on those different platforms, she's helping me and getting those questions answered also. And then we have AJ, who is keeping track of all of our streams and on those platforms, making sure that everything is running smoothly. And he helped me a lot with my computer issues. So today was much less stressful. Thank you so much, AJ, for all of you do and using your skills in what we call advanced team building, where we're using our individual skills to build and promote something that is near and dear to our heart. And that is wellness, folks. Your wellness, our wellness, as we work together And I just want to thank, I saw lots of other people out on YouTube, some additional people that are part of our team, and longevity distributors. I just absolutely love it. So make sure you smash that like, that heart, share it with other people. And there was the question that I wanted to answer that was in the chat here. And it has to do with the difference between the Tangy Tangerine and the Ultimate Classic, two of our amazing multivitamin, multi-complex products, things that we offered. Now, over the years, formulas have been created to specifically meet people where they're at. So it's like evolved over the generations. And that's the main difference. It's just a little extra of this or a little extra of that. So folks, just like food, you have to read the labels and look at what is in that as far as the nutritional values of the different things. So if you have more bone concerns, you may want to go with something that has more of those minerals that help build bone: calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, strontium, all of those things. So you just read labels. They're both wonderful, wonderful products. I've used both of them over the last 7 years, and I can't say anything negative about either of them. Folks, when you give your body what it needs, what it's thriving for, you don't have those cravings that you would. Another person had a question here wanting to know, because they're on the program, they're walking 4 to 5 miles a day, yet they're gaining weight. We want to remember muscle weighs more than fat. So as you're doing all that walking and exercising, you are building muscle. Now, you got to look at, okay, what is causing that for fat storage? Do you have blood sugar concerns that need extra attention? Do you need to reevaluate your diet? I personally love the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet, when done right, it turns your body into a machine that burns fat for energy instead of sugar or carbohydrates for energy. So a couple things to consider that I wanted to address as the questions were coming in. Now, Dr. Wallach had to get on to his next program, and we are always, everything that we promote on this show is in accordance with Dr. Wallach's teachings. He has all of the research. He has the knowledge. He has clinical proof that these things work. And each of us on the screen are evidence of it as well. So folks, thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, and on behalf of the crew and the whole entire longevity family of coaches and distributors and associates, if you were invited to this program by somebody specific, get back with them. If not, feel free to call us on our 800 number, 855-949-3377, or go to the website, use the contact option, and send us an email. Let us know what your health concerns are, how you would like to become involved. That's a big thing. If you've got skills that you would like to use to help promote this wellness crusade, let us know. And we will help you figure out how we can help you get those being worked for you and your community. And together, we help the world. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.
Recording
you.